The title of today is how to use your impact data to win grants. And to tell you a little bit more about me, well, not about me, but like what we are seeing today. I remember when I put in the chat, like what we were going to cover today, a friend said, you have to put something like how to secure like 100,000 euros in funding for your impact business. And I think for us, like the most important is like without taking the founder's time, which is like the most difficult to replace, and without chasing investors. I don't know if any of you have raised money from investors already. You can raise your hand. Okay, yeah, I tried and I couldn't. So this is like this story, and that's why I started like looking for grants because I had a really hard time doing that. And with this strategy, I could manage to have 280,000 euros in grants, like are not reimbursable, so that I don't have to give it back. And for me, it was really important because it gave me the peace to focus on what it was important for my business at that moment, which is developing the product, selling, like everything that the founder has to do, but without worrying about how to pay the salaries or like with the anxiety that I have to, or feeling forced to put the company in debt. Okay, so before I tell you this, I want to tell you a little bit my story. Some of you already know that, but I want to tell you all the things I try to have money in my account, and now why I think this is the best strategy for impact companies. Then I will give you 3 steps to create winning grant applications. It's nothing, I don't think you don't know, but I will like specify some important things that I discover myself applying and helping others applying too. And at the end, I will tell you the program we designed to help impact companies. Because I don't know if you know me, but my background is in impact measurement, and we spend a lot of time trying to ask founders to measure. And I'm sure all of you have heard about impact measurement, and I'm sure all of you know that it's important. But when it comes to your company and to prioritize everything, it's like always in the bottom. So this is the way we found to really use the impact measurement to drive capital for the company, or to find capital for the company. Okay. I know that some of you will have to drop off in the middle of the webinar because I know you're busy, but I'll tell you that for coming here, you will have access to our software, which allows you to create your impact indicators and the theory of change just with the company's description. You will have access for free just for coming here, and it's a gift to you. We are opening a 2 weeks window to book because we are doing many things too. So in case you need it, Carney is sharing in the chat the link so you can book the call for grant you access to the software. It's free, it's web-based, so you can use it for your company or for any impact project you have. So make sure to book in the following 2 weeks. Okay, so my name is Adriana Mata. I come from Venezuela, a very, very difficult country close to Brazil. And now I'm in Valencia, Spain. And my story is that I have like more than 15 years working in impact measurement. I used to work for banks and huge organizations. And then one day I say, it doesn't make any sense that all organizations are struggling with impact measurement. I'm gonna do this with technology. Without knowing what it was to be in a technology company. So we decided to create a company. That company was called Quantix. And with that company, I was selected like a Cartier Fellow. That's like the project I submit for the fellowship. And yet at that moment, what we wanted was like to develop a software and to help companies, measure more, because we know it was important for everything. But it was really difficult to find the right business model because we founded in 2016, and even now it's like, wow, software for impact measurement. Like it's something that it has its challenges, of course. So it was really difficult to find the right business model to say, okay, we are a for-profit company, but at the same time, we want to help NGOs and impact entrepreneurs to make this faster, better, and easier. Back at that time, of course, as a for-profit company, we said we have to sell. That's what we have to do. And I will tell you the steps I follow. I don't know if you have a B2B model. Any of you have a B2B model for corporates? Maybe Adi, who else? Diana, you said like this. Megana too. Okay, Marina also. Let me see the waiting room because they are waiting. So let me admit them all. Okay, great. Okay, so what I did back at the time was I was trying to reach the CSR department. I don't know. I thought, well, if they want impact measurement, maybe the CSR department was the one who need my service. And then the potential client said, yeah, perfect. Give me a proposal, which of course I was very happy because I thought they were going to buy my solution. And we worked, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, like developing a proposal. We sent them, and many times we didn't get any answer, like zero. So I said, maybe I'm doing something wrong. What happened? And every time, every client was different. I had to adapt, or not even adapt. I had to create a proposal from scratch every time that a client wants something. So at the end, I could sell some tickets. I don't know, around 50K, maybe one ticket. It was okay, but it was difficult for me to predict like how much are going to be the sales in the future. Like, okay, I can have 50K today, great, we close the client, but the next month I didn't know, and in 1 year, of course, I was not able to see what it will happen. So the consequence of that is that I couldn't plan the growth. I couldn't plan if I have to hire someone for anything new that I have in my company. And I say, I'm tired. I want to try something else because I need money to grow. And the solution for that was, okay, if I cannot sell one, then I'm going to raise capital. I'm sure that you also have maybe someone that has suggested, you have to raise capital from an investor. Well, they told me that too. And I did it. What I did was all the steps that like every accelerator or I don't know, any things in technology, they will tell you, like prepare a pitch, search for the list of investors, how you have to send emails, you have to set a meeting, and I prepare every step of that. But the worst part was when I was during the meeting with investors and they say, yeah, it's very innovative. I love your idea, but you're not a good fit. So I say, how come I'm not a good fit if you're an impact investor? You told me you want to invest in impact, in impact startups, and at the same time, to have profitability or to win a business. And then the answer I got, it was always a no. And then I realized that at that moment, it was difficult for investors to give me money because I wasn't defined the right business model to show them that it was really a business. I don't know if I'm making myself clear. Like I could sell like to corporates, but it was difficult for me to say, if I invest X money in marketing, I can achieve this amount of money in revenue. That's what I couldn't say because I didn't have exactly the right business model. I didn't know who was exactly my client. I can say, yeah, we're like targeting corporates, but at the end, I didn't know who has the pain that always have to pay for this. You know what I mean? And in impact business, we usually found this context that I'm sure whatever you're doing, it's amazing, but I'm pretty sure that maybe your challenge is how can I have recurrent sales? Not just one-time sale, like recurrent. Like how can I find clients every time in LinkedIn or whatever, but I can have this like a recurrent sales. So, of course, I got frustrated, exhausted. I think like everything was depending a lot of me, not only the sales, the raising capital. I think I became the bottleneck of my company. Like it was ironic. So at the end, I didn't raise enough capital to save my company and I have to close it. Actually, that previous company, I have to close it. And I remember when I don't know, Rafa, if you remember when we were to the Cartier like ceremony, they were giving the prize to the fellows that has like won 2 years before because COVID, we couldn't have the prize. I remember when I got to the ceremony, I said, maybe I don't deserve to be here because I just closed my company. And I felt really bad at that moment. But then I remember someone in Cartier told me, like, we're not invested in your company. We're invested in you as an entrepreneur. And at that time, I said, yeah, it's true. Like all these things we did, it wasn't just, it wasn't bad. It's just, we need to try again because it was the wrong model. But I think the worst is that I think I fell out into burnout. So now that's why I always say this to other fellows, entrepreneurs, companies, like you have to take care of yourself. I know you're like everything that you're doing is amazing, but you have to find a way to have that money in the bank account so you can be, uh, good and in peace. So, but the greatest learning from all that experience, it was that I think that like for impact entrepreneurs, it takes longer to travel through the valley of death. The valley of death where the sales are not enough for covering cost. It's usual for any entrepreneur, but for us, for impact entrepreneurs, it's even worse because we are doing two things at the same time. We're creating impact, which is already complicated, and at the same time, we have to create profits. So at that time, I understood, of course, it's going to take us longer because we're doing really the toughest thing in the world. So for that, like for this journey, if we are going to take longer, when we created Agile Impact, which is this second company, which I created in October 2023, we already knew that we are not going to try like investing because we know that they were going to say, oh, you don't have enough traction, or I don't know, you're like, if you really can have profit from this, or you're not a good fit. I didn't want to hear that again. So we say, from the very first moment, we're going to have a grant strategy. And only in 6 months after launching our MVP, we got all this money, 207,000 euros. I have the number in dollars in equity-free grants. So we said, if I could do it in a company in 6 months, I'm sure you also can do it because I'm sure all your companies have history, more traction, and more data to show. Okay, so now I'm showing others how important it is to have a grant application system based on your impact data. If you were a traditional company, I cannot tell you that because they're not grants for traditional companies. But now, like you have to take advantage that you are impact company at that more money it's coming to support you. And the most important, as I told you, is to have this peace of mind to give the time to validate who is your client, what's the right business model, to create impact, and at the same time to have these recurrent sales that you need in order to grow. So I know I'm speaking too fast, so I want to know if any of you can relate with that story, if something that I say makes sense to you. I say yes. Do you want to share anything like something that has happened to you before? Especially being the bottleneck. Oh yeah. It's very common. It's very common. But especially for impact investors, now I say, very quiet because of course we are in this ecosystem. But every time they say they're impact investors, I say they're impact investors. Like at this, at the end, they want their profit, and it's okay. I mean, I don't judge. It's just that for us, we believe that they're gonna support us in this stage that we would need it, and not when we already have $1 million in recurrent sales. Like I need the support now and not when I'm already big. And I think that's the difference. Maybe it's something that the ecosystem needs to fix. But yeah, that's my story. I don't know. Oh yeah, I'm checking the mental health. Yes, it's really, really important. Okay. So what I'll show you today is like 3 steps that I think you should follow in order to win these grants. Of course, the first step is to know that you can win grants and to select them. But once you have the grant you want to apply, I suggest you 3 steps for that. One is a powerful storytelling. I know you all know what important it is what you're doing, but the donors don't necessarily know the problem. And I remember, Gife, when we were talking about your business, that I was like, for me, or Gife, can you say a little bit or really quick what's your business about? So everyone knows.
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, so MN Environmental Services is professionalizing access to clean toilet and shower facilities in urban centers and to the underserved. We find that in most urban centers like markets, bus parks, unserved communities, when you go there and you feel pressed to go, the choices open to you. Either one, to go in the open drain, to go in the back street, or to use toilets that are simply in an unusable condition. So what we're doing is we're providing access to clean toilets in a professional way on a pay-for-service basis.
Well, I remember when I was talking to Yife, it was a surprise for me. Like, there are no toilets there? Like, she told me, yeah, there are no toilets. Why? Well, because the government doesn't work. Like, like there are many problems. But as I was surprised, and I come from Latin America, so I've seen really bad situations. I was surprised. So imagine a donor from the US, from Europe, that really in their minds it doesn't exist a world that is working like that. So it's our responsibility to show the importance of the problem and that problem exists, and it's important and it's urgent to solve it now. So I'm just telling you just an example to see how important it is to have this powerful storytelling. And not only, like, maybe I'm sure you understand that, but make sure you can really translate that to someone else that maybe don't understand your context. The second step is, of course, to measure impact. And I'll tell you why it's so important to really differentiate from others. And the last step, of course, is to custom your application to each grant. It doesn't mean that you're going to change your storytelling. Actually, it's going to be the same, but you tailor to what the grant is looking for. For example, when I'm applying to, for example, AI grants, I put all the things I've done in AI, in technology, my team background, everything. Sometimes I'm applying for more social grants where I say, this is how I help, I don't know, NGOs or impact entrepreneurs. Like, I'm doing the same thing, it's the same me. It's just that for every grant, I know what exactly where to put the emphasis. Okay, and Ishani is joining. Welcome, Ishani. Okay. So okay, I'll tell you a little bit about the powerful storytelling, which is what I told you. But the common mistake I've seen in storytelling is like the lack of compelling the need or the urgency. Like yeah, it's not like the people don't have toilet. It's like, if they don't have toilet, this is the consequence, and this is the amount of people that is suffering this now, and this consequence is like this. They have this disease because of this situation. Like, you have to make it really urgent, even if you're not something really related with that. For example, myself. Can you imagine how can I put the urgency in impact measurement? Like, what? Like, it's not urgent. Like, there are more important things to care, like, in the world. But for example, I remember when I have to apply to grants, when I'm sometimes competing with people that is really doing, I call it sexy things or more urgent things. My argument is, if I don't help them to measure, all of them are not going to have success. So this is urgent to solve this now, because otherwise the capital is not going towards the good companies that are really making a difference. This is my argument, but you have to find yours. Like why we have to support you, and why like the why us connection. Why do I have to give you the money and not someone else? And sometimes I have found like inconsistent narratives. Like you say something here and then like the opposite in other side. Well, here the task is to create a good narrative. And this happened because evaluators are very saturated with proposals. They receive thousands or hundreds of applications, and I'm sure your project is good, but the challenge is to capture their attention in the very first seconds. So you have to be really clever in to say something that they're gonna pay attention, right? And if your story isn't impactful or memorable, it's just like another one. Like they will read more another one. So your task, your responsibility is to capture the attention in the very first seconds. Okay, so what I recommend you to really improve your story is to create the theory of change. Maybe some of you already know that, and if you don't, or if you have tried like 5 years ago, like try it again. Use it like a way to differentiate your argument towards the impact. Like this is the problem. Make sure you explain the problem because it's not obvious for all people in impact ecosystem. Make sure you explain it. Make sure you make clear the urgency, and then you have to explain how this is going to change with your solution. That's the theory of change. You say, okay, I'm giving toilets. Okay, then people go to toilets. That's something that you think it's obvious, but it's not, because sometimes in our solutions the challenge is make the people use it. So of course the use of the solution is one required step. But what happens after that? Okay, they go to the toilet, the space is cleaner, and then they have less disease and the people is healthier. You have to say that even if it's for you, it's obvious. It's not obvious. You have to make that point. And of course, try to say how your solution it's going to deliver in every step of that journey that you're imagining in the future. Okay. There is a grand opportunity for all of you that are in technology or even using AI, which is the Google Accelerator program. This is one of the highest grants I've seen recently. It's from $500,000 to up to $2 million. It's equity free, and social enterprises are invited to apply. The deadline is February 10th. And also at the end, I can also share like a list of grants that you can also check if you maybe not in technology or you're in a different space. We have a list of grants with other opportunities. But I want to tell you, like, this point with this application, we're helping other companies to apply for this. And they say, well, yeah, we're going to use AI for, credit scoring or whatever. You say, yeah, okay, you can use it for that. You have to explain how this will allow you to make your impact exponential. Like you have to say, okay, this is the problem. This is how I will use AI. And if I solve this, I will be able to scale 10x what I can do now, or I can provide the service in a very, very cheap price, and no one can, not like humans or like not even the government can provide the service in this price. So what I put this example just to show you that it's not enough to say, oh, we are good with doing this. You have to show how the grant will help you to increase exponentially your impact. And for that, you need, of course, the theory of change. At the end, I can share you the link if you want to apply. I'm just putting this like an example. Any questions so far?
I have a question.
Okay, Jifa, yeah.
Some of the grant applications give you set questions, so sometimes you don't really have opportunity to um, include all of those details. So how do you
Mm,
do that?
you have to be really clever in make that point in a very few words. Yeah. Or sometimes they ask you for links, or like for example your webpage, of course, but somewhere where they have interviewed you, you have to make sure to make that point very clear. And especially the Google application, I think they say we don't want people using ChatGPT for answering the questions. So the questions like the the word limit is really short. The consequence of that is you have to be really clear on what you want to say, and go directly to the point. I think that's a good way to practice, like, okay, I'm making myself clear, like I don't need like a page to say. I just need like a paragraph, and people will understand the importance. And maybe that brings me to the second point, which is it's easier to say that in few words when you have data, you know, because when you don't have it, you have to explain too much, like, well, yeah, but if you have data, you just have to report, this is the data, that's what changed. You can do that in a phrase, and maybe that's the importance of having data, especially now when you can put like every story in ChatGPT and you will have a good thing, something really good, or good reading at least. But for me, and actually I have a slide for that, you can win small grants with this, with a good story with ChatGPT. You put the great, you will do great. But for me, what it will really take you to the high competitive grants is to have impact data. Because of course, like, one, you can say what you're doing in a very few words without having to explain much. And second, well, here we have some examples that maybe I can show you later. um, but I think that the explanation is that, like, the evaluators are not going to risk giving you that amount of money to companies that cannot demonstrate evidence, because for them it's also their reputation that they are giving money for companies, so they are risking in that sense, and their reputation is also, in risk. So the way for them to protect that they are really supporting a good company is when they see evidence and impact data. That's even the second reason why it's so important. So if you don't do that, the outcome is that your success rate is going to be very low. I remember one of you said that always get rejected. Of course, it can be different reasons, but maybe one way to improve your chances or your success rate is to include impact data, to include your impact KPIs. And I don't know, many of you know Atilana. I remember when I first started Agile Impacts. I don't know if you remember, I post in the Cartier community, like I'm helping impact entrepreneurs to make the theory of change and impact indicators. That's the way I started Agile Impacts, and Atilana was the first to answer my call. And I remember when she told me when she was applying. She told me the first question in the Cartier application is, how do you measure impact? And at that time, for her, it was a difficult question to answer. At the end, she reported that her impact was measured by the total amount of savings she can provide for immigrants through her application. And this KPI sounds maybe, I don't know if it's easy, but the point here in this KPI is two things. One, um, it's obvious for everyone that, oh, if immigrants can save money, it's good for them. It's something that they need. And second, it's easy for her to get that data, because let's be honest, I cannot tell you, oh, you have to measure poverty and you have to spend 50,000 in measuring that. You will tell me, no, I cannot do that. But the key here is you have to find like the right indicator that you can collect quickly, effortlessly, and for you it's simple to systematize. I'm sorry, sometimes my English is not good. Okay, so there are two suggestions for that. One, to to review your operational data and to identify which one can be used as impact data. As at Ilana, for example, at Inanna, of course, she had to measure like the spread between what she offered, the price she offered, and the market. So for her, what she did was calculate her price like with the market price, and she calculated the spread, and she multiplied by the number of clients. So for her, it was something simple to calculate and easy to automate, right? So my suggestion to you is try to find in your operational data what data can speak about your impact. Maybe you don't know its impact. Maybe you're already measuring and you don't know. You can really transform it like an impact data. And the second thing I recommend you if you are working with people or social impact is to use surveys through WhatsApp bots. It's easy to implement, it's cheap, and it's really important like to get not only the impact KPIs, but also the feedback from your client or your user. So these two things are like, for me, the first step you have to do to review your operational data and to see where you can have like more feedback from your customer. WhatsApp, if you're in Africa, Latin America, it has worked really good, but you have to try like everything in your company. So if you do that, you will have a stronger argument to evidence that you really can stand out and differentiate from the rest. As I told you, it's easy to say a good story, but no one or not everyone can tell about the evidence or the impact data on how they are changing people's life. So, and that's what I recommend you to do. Okay, here, questions. I mean, I know in impact measurement you can have a lot of questions, but any question around this, like specifically? I have other materials if you want to see like how to measure, for example, according to your industry. I have some tips, but for now, is there anything important you think you will need to know? Or a question, experience? Who already is measuring impact to see? Okay, Adi, can you share what you're measuring?
Yes, thank you. Actually, in my business case, it's quite easy because what we do in my company in Fabomin, we take wastewater, and we dry it into a functional powder that can replace egg by its functionality for the food industry.
Okay.
So in one hand, I'm recycling water, so it's easy for me to measure how much water did I clean and return to the factory.
Okay.
And on the other hand, how many eggs did I save by using my powder, and the damages that the egg industry is having to the climate. So it's easy for me to test or to measure the impact, how many water I'm saving and how many eggs I'm saving.
Great. Congratulations. That's good. Now you have to use it for applying to grants.
Yes. I'm here. Thank you so much for that, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Okay, and the third step, maybe it can be obvious, but it's the way to how you personalize like every application to the grant. That's maybe one the step that takes more time. But I can tell you like this, Paul Hamlin, which is a program officer in USAID, is a huge donor from the US. He said like usually the common errors for entrepreneurs or people applying is this. Like a poor research are targeting, lack of clarity. They tend to repeat the same in every question, and every question is meant to answer different things. So it's not good to say I've reviewed some like application forms, and they say the same in every question. So you have to really understand why they are asking you this, and let's say this way, what they want to hear. It's not that you will change it. It's you say, okay, why they're asking me this? What they want to know? Maybe they want to know if you will have the sustainability, the financial sustainability in the future. Maybe they will know, or they want to know if you have the correct partners to do that, or if your team is already prepared for that growth, you know. So if you understand that, you say, oh, okay, if that's what they want to know, now I can, you know, like tailor my answer to this. And he also said that sometimes they report contradictory data in different answers or exaggerating or lying, which I hope is not your case. But he said that usually people do it. And this happens because sometimes, of course, we use or reuse like past applications, but this information changes so quick that we have to have like a way to systematize the data in the same place, so anyone that can or is going to fill up that application know like what's the updated KPI, the updated information, or not using information that is outdated because, oh yeah, that was 2 years ago that we were trying this model, but we are not trying it anymore. Okay, so you have to, of course, take that away and not take it into the new one. If you don't do that, like to put everything in the same place, the consequence is that this is where when the CEO founder's time is wasted unsuccessfully, because the founder has to review or even make all the applications to make sure like that everything it's of course aligned with their mission or with the style or whatever. But if you do this, I call it the source of truth. This is something we started to implement with some clients, which is like it's a single and reliable document. You can have a Google Doc if you want, or a sheet that has the reference of all your data on your information. It can have like the price you have won before, like your mission, even like links to reference where they have interviewed you, whatever. Especially the impact data, because it changes very frequently. And if you put all the system to have just one single source of truth and make the people help you to say, okay, you have to take the information from here, the grant application will be like much easier. And finally, I suggest you to have someone that reviewed your application, because sometimes we are, working, or even if you use ChatGPT, it's good to have someone else to review it and to say, make that point stronger, or you have to explain this, or maybe you should quote this thing that maybe it's not clear. We started this ourselves, but now we have mentors that have like work in these organizations like USA, IDB, that now help us to review applications, and the good consequence is that if you do that, you will increase your success rate. And I think the best winning of this is to make the better use of the CEO and founder's time. It's not that the founder can completely, forget about that, because in some grants, they ask you very tough questions like, how's going to be your growth strategy? Like things that maybe you don't know now. For example, in USA, they ask you, they support like organizations that are going to reach millions of people in years. So they ask you, how are you going to reach millions in 10 years? And this is not it's not only answering the question, is, are you really willing to do that? Do you want that? Do you want to grow that way? Like what strategy would you do to do that? So sometimes the CEO has to be involved because they are like very strategic decisions, but for the rest of the job, you can delegate. Okay, how we are going? Any questions in the chat? Okay, I think Kenneth told me something. If you're B2B, might have the access to customer. Okay, yes. The B2B model, it's complicated when you need to measure the impact in the final user. For me, the strategies that has worked here is to partner with your client, like with your B2B client, and say, this is important, like the impact measurement is important. I can help you to do this. I can provide you this, but I need you to help me to get to the really final user. And that has worked good when they know like the value of doing that. At the end, they will even thank you for that, because for them, they will have the same challenge to you. Like they are running with everything, they don't have time. But if you propose and you say, you know, let's do this way, I think you can have support from them. Okay, and finally, I want to tell you like the program we designed to help entrepreneurs. But basically, it has 3 steps. As you remember, it was difficult for us to just offering like impact measurement, and we understood like if we don't really help founders to get money, they will never measure impact. So what if we help them to get money, and in this journey we help them measure? So that we change completely our business model, and now we offer this because we know that you're struggling with money. So, and that's why we do. So the first thing we do is we select the right grant for you. I know it's it's a full-time job to look for the grants, read the criteria, applying, whatever. So we find the grants that are a good fit for you. Then we also use our software, the same that is creating the KPIs that you will try if you will call. The same software, we use it to create the first draft of your application. And what we do is we use all your information, the data, all the information from your company, and we craft this first form. So you can review it. Of course, maybe you will have to improve it, but it saves like, I don't know, 80% of the time. The second step or thing, the service we provide is hands-on support, because sometimes, as I told you, there are difficult questions. There are questions that are very strategic. Maybe, I have to create another entity or whatever. So we have a mentor that supports like every week for that kind of decisions. Or, for example, in Google application, if you're going to apply, one requirement is that the code at the end has to be open source. So anyone can use it. You have to open to anyone. So that's a very strategic question, like, are you willing to have an open source code? Because sometimes there are things that are very related to your business model. Some others don't, but you have to decide and to really understand the implications of that decision. And the last one, like, we have expert feedback for very, specific things in the grants. It can be review your application for someone who's expert in grant writing, or it can be artificial intelligence. For example, for people applying for this grant, we have AI experts or the data scientists, which support you to say, okay, I don't know how to answer this question because I don't even know what model or whatever they are asking me. So they will help you to answer those questions. Okay, our first client was Natakalam. It was like the first time we tried this, because I know Crystal registered to this, but I don't know if she's here now. It was the first client because we were talking to Aline and say, maybe we need help with this money. And I told her, I think I can help you to do this, and give me your data and I will help you to craft the grants. And we are working with her. And then we started doing this with other companies. We did that with the NECTEC in Colombia. Arukai is an educational platform that teaches coding thinking to kids. It's very interesting. But she also didn't know that she could apply to grants. We also have Clean Energy. Of course, all of you are very smart people. Like, I'm not I don't have any doubt that you can do it yourself if you have time. The problem is you don't. So in this case, I remember I asked him, do you think, would you, like, we help them to apply for a research and development grant, which was like $200,000. And I asked him, do you think you can do this by yourself? And he told me, yes, if I had 5 years to apply to this, but I don't have it. So yeah, it's not that you're not able to do it. It's like, it's just a matter of priorities. And we also have another company in circular economy that it's in Chile, and it is basically the same. She said, like, at the beginning, she didn't know what to put, or she was very insecure. And at the end, for her, it was really good to have someone who can ask any question. But ultimately, I want to share that like our goal, our mission is to make your life easier. Like for us, our success is your success. That's the mission, and that's the reason why we exist. And we offer this. It's the way we found to help entrepreneurs like you. So last, like call to action, if you want to book a call and to have access to that impact indicator software. Remember, if you want to apply to this grant, it closes February 10th. You also can have access to the other list of grants. And if you want to follow us in Instagram, we are publishing impact and like stories about impact entrepreneurs or impact companies that are really good and inspiring stories. So I'll stop sharing, and I want to hear you if you have any question or any comment. I'm here to hear you. Frida said, are there grants available for early stage companies? Yes. Yes, during developing the orphan MVP, yes. It depends on here, this is where the strategy comes in, because it depends on your country, depends, for example, there are countries that have money for, let's say, R&D or experimenting or this phase. So for this phase, we like the first step will be like try to find something in your country, and if don't, we go to international grants that can support you in this phase. But yes, it's completely possible. Hi, Ishani. How are you? I'm glad you're here.
So good to see you. It was a wonderful session. Thank you so much, Adriana. We took a lot of notes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I always
Hi,
remember
Hi,
our
Adi.
conversations around like raising capital and this and that. So I'm glad you like it. Okay, what will be the next step? In what way? The next step, for what?
Hi, hi, this is Bashata. How
Hi,
are you, Adriana? It's lovely to see you again.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, well, you know my situation. You know, you've been mentoring me for the last course, if you remember. So you remember? Yeah, the financial course.
Yeah,
It was very, very good, very inspiring. So the question I have is, going forward from today, like if we want to apply for the grant, if I have several projects that I want to see in different cities, what would be the next step? How we will move forward?
There are like different ways. One is to check the list of grants we already shared. If you like, all of you are, of course, like invited to apply by yourself, because it's an opportunity where like taking grants from different places and put it in the same place. And if you think you need more help, we can book a call for us, and we will make like a diagnosis, like a grant assessment. We call it grant assessment, to see what grants are a good fit for you. And then if we can help you, we will make a plan for you to how to follow that.
Okay, thank you. So these links, I mean, the minute we close the chat, it will go away. So how can we, can you send it by email, for example?
Yeah,
because I know that I'm trying to click on all of them, and I don't know if they will stay or they will disappear. Yeah, thank you, Adriana. That's very nice of you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Chris Chisholm said you talk about finance for grants. How do we do about that? Is there a cost? Okay, yeah. This is of course, we charge for that because we are also a for-profit company. But what we do is we first make like a grant assessment to see if you're eligible. I'm sure if you're here, probably you are, but we want to make sure we can find a grant for you. And after that, we'll tell you how we work. And if you like it, we make you a proposal at that time. So yeah, I think the best way to go is to schedule a one-to-one and to have access to the KPIs and to have that grant sessions to see if we can find something for you. Mm-hmm. We also have like a lot of material in Spanish. I haven't translated to English, but in case you speak Spanish, I have a lot of contents about how to select your indicators, how to report according to your industry. Maybe we can translate it with AI. Maybe I can try that. But when I hear my voice, it's like, oh, I don't like it. But in case you need it, or in case you want more material about how to measure, how to select your impact indicators, I have a lot of material that I can share with you. Any other question we have? Let's see. Well, we're already done. We run out of time. But if you need anything, please reach me out and like send me an email. I'll be more than happy to help you, to orient you where place you can go. And I'm here for anything you need. Mhm.
Thank you so much for doing this. There's a lot of information that you have given us that otherwise it's very hard to find. We don't know where in LinkedIn, which application is when, but what you just summarized for all of us, it's extremely useful.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, for those of you that has asked me about what indicator to measure, use the software. It's for free, so it's for you. It's a gift.
Thank you so much for sharing everything today. It was super interesting and gave me some new thoughts about how to move forward. I've been very stuck in trying to advise the NGOs we work with to apply for certain grants themselves because I haven't seen it as an option to apply for grants ourselves, but you made me rethink that. So I will do some investigation in this field. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. Well, thank you all for coming here today. I hope you have a great day and see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.